Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, authorities were on the scene of a two-vehicle crash in Victoria this morning.
Some homeowners near a new Dollar General going up are concerned about potential flooding. This afternoon, the company has reached out to one of the homeowners.
And the extreme heat at the southern border is making jobs more difficult for Border Patrol agents.
Well, the good news is that it's the weekend, and the bad news is it's going to be a hot weekend. We'll have all the weather facts coming up in just a moment.
Also, the Biden administration is kickstarting the U.S. carbon removal with a $1.2 billion investment to remove carbon from the air. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good Friday afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia. Residents have expressed concerns about potential flooding issues from the construction of a new Dollar General off Ben Jordan. Glenn Sarles has lived in his home off Ben Jordan Street for over 40 years. He's worried the way it's being built will obstruct the flow of water in the field behind his home, which will lead to runoff water flooding in his backyard. Dollar General's public relations department has reached out and says they will address these concerns with their developer and contact them with Glenn.
District 30 Representative Jeannie Morrison is serving her 12th term in the Texas legislature. After a few special sessions so far this year, more work awaits.
25 News Now anchor Don Brubaker joins us now with Representative Jeannie Morrison.
Thank you, Karina, and welcome back, Representative Morrison.
Thank you for inviting me back.
Hey, you bet. Well, the last time we talked, we were talking about property tax cuts. They have been passed. $1,300 average saving for a homeowner. Is that enough? Do you think it could have been more if the legislature had worked on it more?
I think, you know, the way that it's set up now, it's going to be a great savings for our homeowners whenever you have $100,000 for your homestead going from $40,000. I mean, that's a huge jump. And also there's going to be some other things that will happen that will be for like 3 years to see how it works. And so I think it's going to be a really good savings. It's the most savings that we've had in a property tax cut in a long time for the state.
It took 2 special sessions to get this done. Why did it take so long?
You know, back during the legislative session, both bodies, the House and the Senate, had different versions of what they wanted to do. And so neither side passed what the other body was doing. And then the governor came in and weighed in and really wanted to work on what was going on with schools. And so then that became his #1 issue. When the governor gives you a special session and gives you what you're supposed to do, I mean, the House did a bill that was all that it was, and then the Senate had a bill that had more to it that was very good too. But it was not something that the House passed because it was really not germane to what the governor had given us. And so there was a lot of work and a lot of talk in between, and then coming back for the second special session, the two bodies got together and I think came up with a really good bill that was the best between the two that had been done in the 2 different legislative bodies.
And the voters still have to vote on this in November.
Yes, they will still have to vote in November, so that will be one of the 14 constitutional amendments that will come up in November that the voters get to vote for.
Where do you stand on the matter of government transparency regarding taxpayer-funded contracts?
I mean, I think that's something we should always be transparent, and so if there's a taxpayer-funded contract, it should be transparent that you can see what's going on. I mean, I'm definitely for all transparency for sure.
It looks like very strongly there will be another special session this fall, and the idea is to look at teacher pay raises. Now, that was an earlier prime goal, but then the governor put on there about school vouchers. Some people are not hot on school vouchers, some are. Where do you stand on that as far as putting that into a bill for teacher pay raises?
So what's going on now, what the governor was talking about, basically he wants for parents to be able to decide where their children go to school. And so he is going to call another special session. We thought it might be in August, but he's talking about October now. There are select committees in the House that are studying the issue, and I think that they'll come up with a good piece of legislation that will be good for everyone to look at. So we don't have anything at this point, and it's not going to be really a voucher program. It's going to be where there's going to be different options that parents can do, but also there will not be anything that will hurt our public schools because we support our public schools, but we also want parents to have a choice if their child is not doing well in a certain situation or needs extra help, we want them to have a choice to be able to do that too. And that the governor is very strong. I mean, he wants that to happen.
How often do you hear from teachers saying we need pay raises?
Absolutely, and that was something that we were going to address during the legislative session. There were some bills that just didn't make it totally through, and so both bodies, I mean the House and the Senate, we were working on appropriations. We had some teacher pay raises in our bodies, but then whenever they got together there were different directions that went, and that is definitely something we have to do. We have to be able to help our teachers. They're the ones that take care of our children. They're the ones that teach our children, and it's a long job that they have to do, and they do such a good job. So very supportive of teacher pay raises also. And there will be something that will happen during the legislative session in October also.
As was mentioned, you're in your 12th term.
Yes.
How does it feel to have all this seniority up in Austin?
Well, I mean, it's really great. Of course, then you look at seniority, and I think, I've got 12 sessions, but then I look at Tom Craddock that was speaker, and Tom's been there for over 50 years, and longest serving member in the Texas House, of course, in Symphonia Thompson, who, of course, he's a Republican, Symphonia Thompson's Democrat, and Symphonia Thompson has been there over 50 years now, too. So seniority is relative, because I don't know that anyone else will ever have that seniority, and definitely not me.
And you've been there 24.
Right, I've been there 24 years, right.
Thank you, Representative Morrison, for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Don.
James and Karina, back to you.
Don, thank you so much. A severe storm moved across Wichita Falls last night, causing heavy damage. The storm produced a strong downburst. Straight line winds came through around 9:45 p.m. Authorities say the most affected location is in the Seymour Highway and Loop 11 area. They received reports of property damage, power outages, and downed trees blocking some roadways. Extra officers were called in to patrol areas of power outages and to check for more damage. All right, let's take a look at your first warned storm team forecast. Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac?
Thank you very much, James. Well, as you can see, lots of sunshine out there. 98 degrees right about now. Did we make it to 100? Yes, we did. That puts us now at 27 days at 100 or above. All right, we'll be talking about your weekend coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Mac. ERCOT has extended a weather watch for a second straight week. ERCOT extended the weather watch through next Friday, August 18th. The extension is due to this 100-plus degree high temps, higher electrical demand, and the potential for lower reserves. ERCOT says it expects normal power grid conditions during this weather watch. The extreme heat attacking the U.S. is making the job of Border Patrol agents more dangerous.
It's also making the migrants' journey crossing the desert even deadlier.
Follow it down, I'll clear your stuff. You should be in the bushes on it.
The El Paso border sector is starting to see an increase in migrant apprehensions at the border. According to Border Patrol, for the month of August, they're seeing an average of 823 apprehensions a day.
Oye, chavo! Yeah, just make it one more. Ven, chavo! Go for it.
While on the ride-along, there were two groups that crossed into the U.S. While Border Patrol was able to catch one group, two migrants ran away, one got caught, but the other led agents on an intense pursuit.
And we have to be going through these fences a lot of the times, multiple fences going through this property. Now you're gonna add the dogs, right? That's a big one. I made sure, I whistled a few times, see if there was a dog in that property. Now you're gonna add the extreme heat.
Due to the demanding temperatures here in the borderland, heat-related injuries and death have increased.
We want to save some lives. Out here, when we're patrolling out here in the desert, we have to switch that hat most of the times, almost instantly, where we have to change our mentality from a law enforcement mentality to a search and rescue mentality.
According to Border Patrol, fiscal year to date, the El Paso border sector has seen 158 migrant deaths and performed 394 rescues.
With this extreme temperature that we've been getting here in El Paso, every time we see an increase in numbers, we're going to see an increase in all numbers that come along with it.
Baca says the El Paso sector has EMTs that are a part of the sector, and that helps tremendously.
They carry IV bags. They carry things necessary to provide some of the more simpler medical assistance, right? And when we think something more serious, then we will have to call an ambulance.
In addition to EMTs, they also have 17 safety beacons and more than 500 placards in the sector to make it easier for migrants to get help.
We have had a lot of people call 911. that that they need assistance, that they're in an emergency situation. However, one of the obstacles that comes up is that there's no address. You know, they're in the middle of the desert.
Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel in the Hunter Biden probe. Today, he announced the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, David West, as the special counsel. West was investigating the financial and business dealings of President Joe Biden's son. The move comes during a pair of sweeping Justice Department probes into former President Donald Trump. The newly appointed special counsel says plea deal talks have broken down in the Hunter Biden tax and gun case. Today, the Department of Energy announced a $1.2 billion investment to suck carbon dioxide out of the air. The money will fund 2 new direct air capture hubs in Texas and Louisiana. They will build huge vacuum cleaners that suck up carbon dioxide from the air and store it underground. The carbon could be used in industrial materials like cement. The Department of Energy says this plan could remove the equivalent of nearly 500,000 gas cars off the road a year.
2 vehicles involved in a crash at the intersection of East Crestwood Drive and North Bend Jordan Street. It happened around 10 a.m. today. Police say a Mazda Tribute was headed straight across the intersection while in the turning lane. The driver of a Chevy Malibu thought the first vehicle was turning left. The first car was 3/4 across the intersection when the second car hit the first one. No tickets were issued and no one was hurt. The westbound lane of Crestwood Drive was closed for a short time.
VFD responded to a fire at the barbecue pit behind RNC Barbecue located off of Sam Houston. One of the RNC employees said when he went to open the barbecue pit, flames were too high and burned the top of the enclosure, but luckily he was able to put out the fire before VFD even arrived. No one was hurt in this fire and no product was lost.
The Texas Tribune has this story about a prison guard reporting contraction-like pains when she was 7 months pregnant and on the job, but she says she wasn't allowed to leave her post for hours. She delivered a stillborn baby. Now Texas is fighting her lawsuit. You can read this story at crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click on the notification bell. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the 17-year-old accused of murdering a pro dancer at a New York gas station pleaded not guilty.
Also ahead, at least 55 people have died in the deadly wildfires in Maui. Here's what to catch on Community Crossroads this weekend. We first sit down with the City of Victoria to discuss a child safety program, followed by Keep Victoria Beautiful, and we also sit down with an American Idol producer, plus a studio performance from Nathan Colt Young.
Remember the nights we were together. I thought our love
Dmitry Popov is pleading not guilty to charges he stabbed professional dancer O'Shea Sibley at a New York gas station last month. The Brooklyn District Attorney says a grand jury indicted the 17-year-old on charges that include murder as a hate crime. He claims the teen hurled anti-black and homophobic slurs at Sibley before the stabbing. Mourners remember 28-year-old Sibley as a dancer who was dancing to a Beyonce song the night he was murdered. In the latest surrounding the devastating Maui wildfires, 55 people now reported dead from the blaze, particularly in the Lahaina area, where the deadly wildfire has scorched the oceanfront town nearly to the ground. National Guard members are conducting water drops and searching for survivors. Nearly 300 structures were destroyed. To help those affected by the Maui wildfires, you can donate to the Red Cross or to the Hawaii Community Foundation.
Here's your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan the QR code right there on your screen to vote now. Have you donated to any organizations to help those affected by the Maui wildfires? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have an update on 25 News Now at 6. You know, a hospital stay is never easy and it's never comfortable.
But a pastor who works at one U.S. hospital says he's bringing comfort to patients and staff with his voice.
For Reverend Chris Kayampa, going to work means sharing two things he loves, his faith and his music.
I'm just singing.
For the past decade at Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Kayampa has clocked in for work with a guitar in hand.
It touches people in a way that maybe other ways of communicating with folks don't.
He projects lyrics and allows patients on various hospital floors to pick what they'd like to hear from a list of more than 180 songs.
I have seen folks who were, just tired and just ready to kind of give up, get a little extra kick in their step from singing a good old Beatles song.
From hymns to punk rock, Kayampa says he sings all genres and allows patients to add songs to his list, with some exceptions.
Sometimes I get some suggestions that the chaplain probably ought not sing.
He says the songs of encouragement are the most requested.
Whether it's, a hymn like Amazing Grace, or whether it's, hey, Jude, don't make it bad, make it better.
His work isn't just about music. He says it's about acknowledging that what these patients are going through is hard.
To help life be a little bit better, even if it's only for 45 minutes, it's still a little better at that moment.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And on crossroadstoday.com, read about Zach Lentz Parkway and Ben Wilson Street. There's a closure there next Monday. That's under news. Mac?
Well, the weekend is here. That's good stuff. We've got, unfortunately, no real change in our weather. We're looking at 100 that we got today, 99 down in Port Lavaca. And if you're going fishing, well, we've got your fishing information. But, you need to go early in the morning, right? That's the only good time. Anyway, we'll be taking a look at your weekend weather coming up right after this. Well, good Friday afternoon to you, everyone. I mean, it's back of starting school, and some of you, it's the last weekend that you can get away. Hopefully, you'll have advantages to take advantage of that, but temperatures are not going to give us much of a break. These are the observed highs that we had around the state today, and you can see, I don't know, folks, I mean, it's really all Texas. You realize that? I mean, they're not having problems in Arkansas. They're not having that much problems in New Mexico. It's just us. Look at this, 100 degrees all the way from Amarillo to Brownsville. It's unbelievable. Your highs for tomorrow, this is your Saturday, we're still looking at 101 for us and 105 in San Antonio. So unless you're in the water or at least halfway up the water, that'll be the coolest place to be. Otherwise, it's going to be a hot one, and we just need to take appropriate actions. You know what the drill is now that we've survived this long. Right now, our sundown is about 8:30, 8:15. And so until we get to September, when it's closer to 7:15, we'll have one less hour of solar radiation to get us. So not a cloud in the sky over our area of Texas. Last night, late in the afternoon, we got those pulse showers. In other words, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. The air is rising there, and all of a sudden, boom, you get a thunder shower that pop up. That's what happened up here, and they got some severe weather in the Mineral Wells area. But for today, hardly anything, just one little cloud north of Dallas. The rest of the state still on the high and dry side. So it's that we've got to watch out, be careful, be cautious, and just take it easy. There's Victoria County. We have the heat advisory up for all the way to Saturday, and for the rest of the state in the red here, it's basically a heat warning. So now we're looking at the Gonzales area. You're right about there, and you can see how they're going to expect to be in the heat warning. What's the difference? Well, A, they're a little farther away from the sea breeze. B, they're going to have lower humidity out there, and even it's not that far, but with the heat and the temperature and the humidity, it's going to be unfortunately bad. That's where all the heat is, basically from the Mississippi River up to about Nebraska and then south and over our area. So, you know, a movie, reading a book, something like that, whatever it takes to get you through the weekend. One of the biggest concerns that we're going to be looking at for the next 7 days, because, you know, we look into the future, is that it's very warm and dry, and this weekend we have a red flag warning. This is going to get warmer and drier. Some dry air is coming in, and so let's just say that Texas next week is going to be in a tinderbox situation. We're going to have to be very cautious and watch out for anything that looks like an open flame, especially areas on the other side of I-35. We're, you know, not in that watch area, but it doesn't matter. We are pretty much as dry as they are, and look at the warnings all the way from Oklahoma down to the Texas-Mexico border. Once again, I want to remind you that the Weather Service re-updated their forecast, so now they're looking for 14 to 21 named storms. That's different from the original forecast, which was back in June. For tomorrow in Port Lavaca, 96. For tomorrow in Cuero, 103. And for the rest of you, all of us are going to be looking at 101 degrees all the way through the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we've got the QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. James, Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Have a good weekend. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, Wall Street. Then in business news, the price of diamonds dropping after a multi-year high.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 106 points, the S&P 500 losing 5 points, and the Nasdaq off 93 points. Oil up 37 cents, closing at $83.37 a barrel.
The Wall Street Journal reports diamond prices are falling. The International Diamond Exchange shows prices are down about 27% from 2022. It's a stark change from 2021 and 2022 when the value of gems reached a multi-year high. A 1-carat round natural diamond would be around $7,000. Now it's about $5,000. That's likely because demand has slowed since the immediate post-pandemic rush. Also, supply chain issues have resolved themselves. Those are beautiful.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, 2 children in Montana saved their great-grandmother from drowning. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up, the urgent search for the missing in Maui as families return to what's left of their homes. Also, major developments in the investigation into Hunter Biden, a special counsel appointed to the case, and tracking severe storms through the weekend. Next.
In Montana, these 2 children saved their great-grandmother from drowning. The 9-year-old was swimming with his great-grandma when he found her unconscious in the pool. He brought her to the edge and told his 5-year-old sister to call 911 and get their great-grandfather. On August 10th, Great Falls Emergency Services had a ceremony to celebrate them with certificates and coins. They say their brave actions saved their grandmother's life.
That's just incredible.
Little lifeguards, how about that?
Can you imagine pulling grandma?
What a nightmare, yeah.
What a nightmare.
Everything worked out all right.
Pressure's on, and congratulations to them. Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully you'll have a better weekend than that. We are here, and we're looking at, you know, kind of a ridiculous forecast when we got 100-degree temperatures all the way across through next week. There's a glimmer of hope that we'll pop a few little afternoon showers, but they're not going to be enough to really help us with the drought. And they're just hopefully little decorations that we'll see in the afternoons. Other than that, have a great weekend and try and stay cool.
Can you quadruple check that?
Quadruple check?
Quadruple. I know you triple, but let's quadruple.
Yeah, it's a very easy forecast.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.